Hello, everyone, and welcome to our panel. Of course, the focus of most companies in recent months has been on the COVID-19 pandemic. But in the meantime, another challenge has become even more important, as we can see from the terrible pictures from California and the American West Coast. So yes, I'm talking about climate change. And that's why the issue of sustainability is still very high on the agenda of the corporate partners of the startup AUTOBAHN. Because not only the nations and governments of the world have set themselves goals of drastically reducing CO2 emissions, for example, in the Paris Climate Agreement or the European Green Deal, but many corporations and startups are also pursuing their own mission net zero. But depending on the industry, many of you might know this, that's a real challenge. And with this panel, we want to find out how some of the biggest industry players are meeting that challenge and what role collaboration between industries, but also between bigger corporations and startups can play in helping achieving these goals. And that's why the panel has the title Mission Net Zero. Will collaboration be the key to tackling future sustainability challenges? And we hope that some of you out there in the audience can learn something from this exchange of experiences from three great experts. And I'm happy to introduce them to you. And I'll keep it simple because, as you will see in here, their expertise speaks for themselves. So I'll just give you their names, companies, and positions, and they'll say hi and wave into the camera so that you get to know them. And we start with Sophia Nadur from BP, where she serves as Global E-Mobility Innovation Director. Hi, Sophia.
Hello.
Great to have you here. Also with us today is Jürgen Becky from BASF. He's the Senior Vice President Performance Materials there.
Hello, everybody. Happy to be with you again.
Great. Great to have you here again with us. And last but not least, Volker Ratzmann of Deutsche Post DHL Group. He will give us some interesting insights too. And he's the Executive Vice President for Corporate Public Policy and Regulation Management.
Hello, nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
There he is. Thank you. The corporates of all three speakers are committed to reducing their emissions, and they have been working on this for years. And last but not least, there's also me. My name is Wolfgang Keller. I'm the editor-in-chief of 1E9. That's a Munich-based media startup with an online magazine, a community platform, and events focusing on future and technology. But let's get started because we don't have that much time. My first question goes to Jürgen Becky. Mr. Becky, BASF is the world's largest chemical producer, and the company has published an annual report on the company's carbon footprint since 2008. And we see that the footprint has been decreasing continuously over the years, but it still amounts to many million metric tons of CO2 per year. Maybe you can give us some insights. What measures have been taken to achieve this reduction so far? And how does BASF intend to even accelerate the progress?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, BASF has already halved its total global greenhouse gas emissions from 1990 to today, while at the same time doubling the production volume. So climate protection is really a key task and an essential part also of our global strategy. So we support the objective of the Paris Agreement to limit global warming to below 2 degrees Celsius. The downside of this great achievement is that we have already optimized our plans, and every additional improvement will be increasingly costly and also elaborate. So secondly, we want to once again grow considerably by 2030. This means that the production volume will continue to increase. Indeed, if we want to keep our greenhouse gas emissions at a constant level, we have to again significantly reduce the emissions per metric ton of our sales products. And that is not an easy thing to do. So in total, I see really three approaches we can apply to achieve our 2030 objective. One, operational excellence. We have to become even more energy efficient when it comes to our plants and processes. Here, we will invest significantly more money in the coming years. And secondly, we will increase the share of electricity from renewable resources in the overall amount of electricity that we purchase. There is tremendous potential here as chemistry needs energy, and the biggest sources of CO2 for the chemical industry are still fossil fuels. And last but not least, our third pillar is an ambitious research and development program. Here we examine how we can take climate protection to the next level after 2030, when all other options have been exhausted. We will need decisive technology advancement, real game changers to further reduce greenhouse gas emissions.
Great, thank you. You already touched the issue of fossil fuels and said that your company is going to reduce the amount needed. And that brings us to Sophia Nadur. As a multinational oil and gas producer, BP is historically one of the 10 companies with the largest carbon footprint of all. And indeed, many critics of your industry, and not only climate activists, are demanding that the economy and also your current customers become as independent as possible from fossil fuels. But still, BP has also set itself the goal of becoming climate neutral. And for me, honestly, that almost sounds as if the company has to completely reinvent itself. Sophia Nadur, could you give us 3 examples of what BP is doing to achieve this goal, and maybe how other companies could learn from it?
Thank you. Yeah, it's we used to be called the International Oil and Gas Company. We've just announced that we are aiming to become an integrated energy company. We have committed publicly that we will be net zero on or before 2050 through absolute reductions of CO2. We are aiming for 415 million tons of emissions to be removed from our operations, both upstream, and as well, we are aiming for to reduce the carbon intensity of our products that we sell as well by 50% by 2050 or sooner. What does that mean in reality, though? We are increasing the proportion of our investment into non-oil and gas activities. So for instance, we just announced a $1.1 billion partnership agreement with Equinor, a global leader in wind, offshore wind facilities, which will enable us to increase the renewable share in the US, which will help as well in our integrated energy and charging products that we plan to develop for this market. You probably heard our CEO last week said that a ban on petrol and diesel car sales can be brought in by 2030. That's quite a big announcement for a CEO of an oil and gas company to say. But that's our commitment. But to do that, we are also helping consumers and fleets transition to electric vehicles. We're investing in energy charging infrastructure in major markets in the UK, in Europe, in China, via our gas stations. I mean, car owners live within 20 minutes of a gas station in the UK or Germany. So it makes sense to be able to switch some of the fuel available there to also include charging, and we're doing that at a rapid rate, increasing electrification charging infrastructure at home, but also we're doing something else, which is particularly where certain types of businesses are electrifying fastest. So for instance, the ride hail, the taxi market in China, we have partnered with Didi, and we are developing and rolling out hundreds and hundreds of charging hubs there to ensure that people can move around using cleaner energy and in a cleaner way. And we're doing the same in Europe as well. Uber has just made an announcement that we will be their partner to roll out electric charging hubs in the UK and elsewhere, and that will also help us deliver on our commitments on reducing our carbon emissions to become net zero by 2050 or sooner. Of course, that depends on external collaborations, and we are always on the search for partnerships which can help drive progress, provide the skills, tech, and capabilities we don't have, and also help shape the future together, because we can't do this alone. We know that, and to be able to lift the people out of poverty, but also provide clean energy, that's something we have to do together. And so we absolutely welcome partnerships as well.
So you already mentioned how important partnerships, for example, with mobility providers, but also with clean energy companies are for BP. Volker Ratzmann, for DPDHL, partnerships and collaboration is also very important. But also DPDHL plays an important role, because if the whole economy is going to become carbon neutral, a logistics provider like DPDHL has to provide sustainable logistics for all their customers, because they want to have a net zero footprint. At the same time, your carbon footprint depends on your suppliers. So manufacturers of vehicles, of planes, of ships, or even fuel and energy producers like BP. How does your company work with partners on both ends of your value chain to meet these challenges?
Yeah, you're totally right. Collaboration is really a key for our business becoming and tackling the goal of becoming net zero by 2050. And we are somehow in a sandwich position. As you described, we have on the one hand, we have to fulfill our customers' expectations on sustainability, which is increasing at the moment. So they ask more and more for greener solutions. And on the other hand, we stuck to the innovation of our suppliers. We have to buy transport services from shippings, subcontractor trucking. We have to buy belly air freight and so on. And all these emissions are counting for us. So our sustainability goal is really designed to collaborate if we really want to achieve it. And our zero logistics related emissions include, and that's I think what you pointed out, as well on scope 1 and 2, so on our own emissions in providing our services and the emissions of suppliers and service providers. What are we doing? We are working very closely with companies who are inventing new technologies, and we are very inside their processes, telling them what we need and what our customers need. So there is a very close connection. Different scope of customers, and they really want tailor-made solutions for their logistics problems. So we work together with them in trying to find out what helps them becoming more sustainable. For example, in last mile delivery solutions, everybody knows our project with Street Scooter, where we have tried to design solutions for our customers, and we had the situation that nobody wants to build the electric vehicles we need to fulfill the demands of our customers. So we built them by our own, and we try to set off a sign to the market, and I think this worked very well. But I think collaboration is not only with the customer side or the procurement side, it's also with the political side. Because at the moment, I think politics really notice that the demands for green solutions, for greener solutions are rising. We all know there is lots of money on the table at the moment coming out of the Corona pandemic, and they are really asking for projects, lighthouse projects, where they can show how we can achieve the goals I think we are trying to follow all together. And therefore, we need to collaborate with all stakeholders in our industries, and we need to collaborate with politics very close.
All right. So it's not only companies alone, but politics have to play their role as well. Now for a quick closing round, because the panel is very short. Each of you, please give us one advice or one wish about how collaboration could lead to reaching the goal of net zero emissions in the coming years. What's the most important thing that we need now, or what's your wish right now? Just one short answer, each of you. And we start with BASF.
I mean, as you can see it in the examples now from BP and also in our pilot, it's important to speak to each other, to understand really the challenges and the problems of the other parties, and to jointly develop solutions. I mean, here on this panel, you have 3 companies that do not seem extremely closely connected at first sight, but this joint challenge, this mission brings us together much closer and with a common goal. And no single company can really tackle this challenge on its own. So we are seeing that the approach really works For example, within our engagement in the Alliance to End Plastic Waste. Here we have really nearly 50 major global companies, and we are spending more than 1.5 billion over the next 5 years. And here we develop, we deploy and bring to scale solutions that will minimize and manage plastic waste and promote post-use solutions.
So talk to each other and start projects even across industries. Sophia, maybe you have a short advice for us too.
I mean, the problem can't be solved by one company or even one industry. It needs to be a very circular, a very collaborative approach. Actually, Startup AUTOBAHN and programs like this is the perfect platform for us to start having very open, transparent discussions. You've seen BP made some very strong commitments in the last few weeks, and we're open for collaboration. And let's do this, and let's start doing this right away.
Great. And Volker Ratzmann, maybe some wish directed to our politicians who might be in the audience.
Let's get started. I think we have to show that there are projects and that we are really able to solve the problems and do the right steps in the right directions, not write only headlines on papers and not figures for goals we want to achieve, but let's show that we are able to make this become a reality, and let's really work together and not drown in a comprehensive market and trying to kick the other aside. It's our planet, and we have to solve this problem together.
Great, great last words. So talk to each other, cooperate with each other, and to all the startups out there who are listening, there are 3 major companies who want to reduce their emissions. So if you have a solution for them, make sure to get in touch with them. Thank you for these insights, Sophia Nadur, Jürgen Becky, and Volker Ratzmann. Thank you for the attention out there, and have fun at the Expo.
We'll have.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.